Just Joe here. It is almost the new year, 2018, and I've still got too many movies. Ow! Maybe I should watch one. Ow. So like I said earlier, it is almost 2018. This bitch of a year, 2017, is almost over. It's been probably the worst year of my existence, and I think since Trump entered office, it's probably the worst year of many people's existence, at least in America. No, hell, probably the whole world. So let's get this year over with. Let's end it on a positive note with a movie review, because that's all I got. So, I was looking around through my collection. I'm like, what is a New Year's Eve movie, New Year's Day movie? Because there's really nothing that I could find, except there was one that I could find, and I did. It is a little gem from 1972. The movie, I don't want to say it started the disaster movies in a way, but it kind of almost perfected it, and from what I've been told, it hasn't really been done as well since this movie. And the film I'm talking about is the Poseidon Adventure. And I know they remade this in the 2000s, and I believe I watched it on TV because I had Kurt Russell in it. You know, he's just so dreamy. I'm straight, damn it! Anyway, this is the original Poseidon Adventure starring Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Red Buttons, Carol Linney, Rod McDowell, Stella Stevens, Shelley Winters, and even Liam Neeson has kind of a cameo as the ship's captain. This is an all-star freaking cast. This was an awesome array of talent put in this movie. You know, I've always heard it's a lot of fun, but is it? And I have already watched it, so I'm gonna go and talk about it right now, and I'm gonna go through the plot and then give it a Just Joe rating. That's what I'm gonna do. So here we go. The plot of the Poseidon Adventure is that on New Year's Eve, the captain of the ship, Liam Neeson, is going through some really bad weather. The ship's not doing so well, but they've got a ship full of people. It's basically like a cruise liner, kind of like a hotel on a boat in a way. But they're gonna have a big party that night to celebrate New Year's Day, or you know, when it changes to the new year. And that's exactly what happens. The first half hour, we go through what eventually will be our assortment of characters, like almost 10 people or something, like the main people, the main focus of the story. So the first half hour, it's going through and introducing all of them very well, actually, and very well flowing, and showing us all the characters. And then all of a sudden, the poo-poo hits the fan, the shitty shit hits the fan, and the ship is turned over, like literally turned all the way over. And these 11 people, or 10 people, have to try to survive, you know, find their way through the ship, going through the ship, basically going to the bottom of the ship from the top because of the way the ship fell, and trying to go through all these dangers, trying to survive, trying to convince other people, you know, on the ship, you know, to trust them, or maybe they should trust the other people on the ship. It's all about survival. It's a disaster movie, it's a survival movie. And I mean, that's basically the plot. I mean, there's not really a lead character. I guess if there was one, it would be Gene Hackman, who once again puts his all into this role as, I'm not entirely sure, like, I think a former minister or something. He does say "God damn it" a lot for a minister, but that's my kind of minister, quite frankly. But he does a phenomenal job. Red Buttons plays like this bachelor guy, and he kind of takes this young girl under his wing in a way, and I don't know if they're falling in love, I don't think so, but she lost her brother, and he kind of looks after her in a way for the first time ever in his life. A brother-sister, and they were good, and the little kid, they always have to have a little kid on these damn things, but the little boy, he was a good actor, but he got on my nerves really bad throughout the majority of the film. But by the end, for some reason, he didn't bug me as much, but good God, did he bug the crap out of me. The only character that did, because I enjoyed all the characters. It's not like we get a ton of backstory on all of them. That's not what this movie is about. We get enough. The grandpa from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, he's married to Shelley Winters. And Shelley Winters is a phenomenal actress. She was nominated for this movie for Best Supporting Actress, and I'm glad she was, because she was big in this movie, literally big in terms of weight, because that's what the character was, and they poke fun at her a lot. And she has a redemption moment towards the end of the movie, and I won't ruin it, and I was really happy she did. But I felt bad for her, but I guess it's what the role called for, so maybe she gained some weight for it. But she did a great job, and them as a couple was really heartwarming. You believe all the characters. I believe the actors' portrayals of the characters. I was rooting for these characters. I didn't want to see any of them die, but unfortunately some do. The ending of this isn't exactly, it's a triumphant ending, but it's not, because you lose a lot of the people along the way, and more than likely, you're gonna lose the people you're really rooting for in this. There's only one jerk, played by Ernest Borgnine, but he's not annoying. I love Ernest Borgnine, but he's not trying to be a jerk on purpose. He's just scared. He's trying to protect his wife. He doesn't like that Gene Hackman is kind of running the group in a way. You know, he doesn't completely trust him, but by the end of the movie, maybe he does. So, but that's really it. There's no real enemy on this, just survival. And it's about 2 hours long, a little under 2 hours long, and I had a blast. The first half hour is the slowest, because they're introducing you to all the different characters, and it was great to see Liam Neeson in a serious role. I kept wanting him to suddenly go into his airplane role or something, another disaster movie, but a comedy. But he does a great job, and it was fun for him to have a little cameo. I know he did a ton of drama before he became the comedy king in the 80s with Airplane and Naked Gun, but it was still a nice surprise. I had no idea. And, you know, Gene Hackman once again gives him his all. The entire cast gives it their all. There's no bad moments. It's not a bad moment, but kind of cheesy moment is towards the end with Gene Hackman and Shelley Winters. I felt it was a little too soap opera-ish, but that's okay. It was the early 70s, and it was still a good scene, and it was well, I can't say too much, but, you know, that's the only time I was like, maybe they should have done another take on that one or something, but it's still good. It just was a little too soap opera-ish for me. And that is one thing about this movie. I don't have much negative to say about it. It's just the movie is dated. It's very early 70s. Some hippie stuff going on, the way people were dressed, which, yeah, it's the early 70s. They can't predict the future. But that does date the movie a little bit. But in my mind, I'm just like, well, when this disaster occurred, it was 1972. So, and that's what this movie's about. A disaster in 1972 to me, so that makes sense. It's not supposed to be, I mean, it was modern back then, but it could still hold up today if you go into it with that mindset. And that's what I did. It just, a little thing to help me feel better. And for any of you who have an issue with older movies, just, you know, unless they're trying to be in the future, like Back to the Future with 2015, then it should help you. It always helps me. That's the only thing it's distracting, especially at first. But once the disaster happens and they have to survive, the visual effects are still amazing to me. They're not, I mean, they were groundbreaking back then. They won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, which they should have, but it's all practical, you know, and it's no CG. They used some, I think, blue screen or green screen. They had to for some stuff, but it looks fine. It looks good. I couldn't pick out anything that looked bad to me. Even the ship underwater, those things, it was obviously a model, but it looked good. It looked really good, and the explosions were good. The sets, that's what really sealed the show. The sets, they're upside down sets, they're amazing. The production design for this was fantastic and should still be commended. And I do think that James Cameron's Titanic took a lot from Poseidon Adventure. And maybe they're perfected it in some ways, but Poseidon Adventure is really on its own. It is a unique movie. To me, it is the finest disaster movie ever made. Not like I've seen a ton, but I had a blast. The first half hour is somewhat slow, just introducing the characters, but after that, once the disaster happens, it is just, it is so, I couldn't believe it was already the ending. It had already been 2 hours. It was so quick. And it was also a lot of fun. And the dialogue between the characters is great and necessary, and nothing seems like throwaway lines. And the humor sometimes is very appropriate and very funny. And I liked all the characters' personalities and what they say, and just, I enjoyed the script. It was a very well-written script for this kind of movie. Very good. And I feel like this movie may not be remembered as much as it should be. It's not a masterpiece by any means. It's not perfect. But I'll go ahead and say this is a movie that I could rewatch right now and very much enjoy it. I liked it that much. So I'm not saying it's going to become one of my favorite movies of all time, but it is much better than I thought it was going to be. And I kind of wish now I would have watched this. I believe tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and I kind of wish I would have watched it, but maybe I'll watch it again. Who knows? So I had a blast watching this. It was a lot of fun, and it was late when I watched it, and I should have been tired, and I was just fully into this film. So I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I cannot think of anything. It really is that good, and I highly recommend you rent it or even buy it. It's not expensive, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. The characters, the acting, the visual effects, the script, everything comes together to make a fun, dramatic, heartbreaking, and heartwarming movie. And I can't believe I'm saying that about the Poseidon Adventure. It really is, I think it holds up much better than it has any right to. So the Poseidon Adventure from 1972, I give a Just Joe rating of 4.5 out of 5. So thank you very much for tuning in to the last Too Many Movies of 2017 with me, Just Joe. And actually, this is going to be the final edition of Too Many Movies with me, Just Joe. But I'm not done or anything. There's going to be a slight format change so I can broaden my horizons. I'll have another video talking about it. There's still going to be a video every Friday or Saturday where I watch a movie from my collection. It's not going to be called Too Many Movies anymore, but it's going to be this exact same format. Like I said, there'll be another video talking about it, so watch that video, but I promise I will be back. But anyway, links in the description below, and I hope all of you have a very safe and happy New Year's Eve and a happy New Year's Day. Let's start 2018 with a freaking bang. I hope 2018 is much better for me, and I hope it's much better for the world, and for all of you if you had a bad 2017. If you didn't have a bad 2017, I hope 2018 is just as good or even better. And with coffee, everything is usually better, and I'll drink much more even in the new year. So, but before I end this, I'm hoping to start 2018 with a bang, because I actually got, grab this, a package in the mail from Amazon. Somebody sent me, and it feels like movies. And I started to open it, and I was like, no, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna do this at the end of the movie, because obviously somebody sent me, 4 Blu-rays, 4 movies. Okay, awesome. Okay, so you know what I'm gonna do? Okay, for January, for the new show I'm gonna do, for every single Friday, if these are movies that I've never seen, I have a feeling they will be, I'll do one a week for January. That will be my January. So, let's see what I got. Okay. Yeah. The first new, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. A bully for me. I've never seen that. Didn't really want to. I'm a big Turtles fanatic. Okay, well, I guess that'll be my first review in 2018. What's the... Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, it's the sequel. Gee golly, mister. Or miss, thank you. Okay. Third one. Oh! Well, that's a little better. The new Ghostbusters movie that I was really excited to see until all the shit reviews came out. I think I'll watch the extended edition. Maybe it'll make it better, but okay. And last but not least, let's see.
Quiet on the set.